never been so jealous of a fork in my life.
Jack Reacher is back. Reacher arrived by car, unusual for him.
So?
Just then, a young boy stepped out, only to be abducted by armed men. Reacher intervened.
No, please, I'm not gonna hurt you.
But then he fired a gun at the police. Now pursued by campus security, he shook them off, leaving the boy behind to steal a car. The boy, Richard Beck, revealed his father's wealth made him a frequent target. He'd been kidnapped before. The man who died in the explosion? His bodyguard. Richard's home was a vast estate. At the gates, they were stopped by Paulie, Beck's massive enforcer. But Richard handed Reacher a gun, securing entry. During dinner, Security Chief Chapman Duke arrived. Beck wanted to see him. Suspicious. Beck tested Reacher, but he confidently handed over his fingerprints.
I gripped it firmly so you'll have a clear set of prints to run.
Later, Beck invited Reacher to the warehouse. He offered a reward and tested his nerve with Russian roulette. 4 shots in, Reacher didn't flinch. He passed. Duke called him crazy. Reacher claimed he knew the round was a dud. It wasn't. Reacher noticed liquid flowing underground. Days earlier, Reacher had been tracking someone but lost him. His attempt to run a plate check hit a dead-end system maintenance. Turner unavailable. At the Yorkie Motel, federal agents arrived. Grabbing only his faithful toothbrush, Reacher bolted straight into Susan Duffy, DEA. She and her agents, Elliott and Villanueva, were investigating Zachary Beck and his carpet business. Bizarre. Susan wanted Reacher's help. He had one condition: find a man, shot in the head, dumped in water. They did. He survived. But doctors suspected he was faking amnesia. A John Doe. Reacher identified him, Lieutenant Colonel Francis Xavier Quinn, a military traitor. An insider erased his identity. Meanwhile, Susan had botched a bust on Landra kingpin Prado. Evidence lost, her team pulled. But she wasn't giving up. Prado had met Beck, reaching out to an old informant, Teresa, a teenage girl Susan had flipped. Teresa went undercover at Bizarre Bazaar. Then she vanished. A week ago, Susan was desperate to find her. She showed Reacher Teresa's hoop earrings, her only clue. Their plan? Fake kidnap Richard.
Hold him indefinitely.
If Reacher rescued him, Beck would trust him. To take out Richard's bodyguard, they'd fake his death with a flashbang disguised as a grenade. Then, they'd plant drugs on him, getting him detained until the mission was done. Elliott, unthreatening in appearance, played the kidnapper. To make it real, they used blanks and special effects.
Shit, Billy!
If Richard made it to the police, they'd kill a cop, adding chaos. Illegal guns, marked blanks, switch cars, every detail, planned. And Reacher's cover? Billy's LP collection, Ethel Merman's disco album. What the? The wild card campus police would be dealt with accordingly. Communication? Government satellite phone. Everything was set. Reacher got in perfectly. Richard's bodyguard knew nothing about Beck's operation. Duke took food down. Liquid seeped up. A hidden space? In the dead of night, Reacher slipped into the warehouse. Behind a concealed door, food scraps. And a single earring. Teresa had been there. Teresa was already gone. As Reacher returned to his room, a crew member arrived. They'd found the kidnapper's vehicle. Thinking fast, Reacher rushed inside. When Duke unlocked the door, Reacher casually walked out of the bathroom. Duke ordered him to check the evidence storage with Angel. Problem: Beck still thought Richard's Audi had exploded. They had to get rid of it before the truth got out. On the way, Angel slipped up. Beck wasn't the real boss. Someone else was pulling the strings. At the lot, the Audi was blocked. Reacher stalled.
The fuck you doing, man?
Angel offered a cop $500, then prepared to kill him. Reacher stopped him. or him. Just as they were leaving, Angel spotted the Audi. It was too clean. Suspicious, he inspected it, but Reacher pointed out a different license plate. Susan had covered their tracks. Back at the mansion, a maid searched Reacher's room. Beck's orders. Before he could rest, Duke sent him on a delivery run.
Shit.
Beck, for all his ruthlessness, was still a loving father to Richard. At the gym, Paulie challenged Reacher to a bench press contest.
Bench press proves nothing.
Instead, Reacher tricked him into Bavarian arm wrestling and humiliated him in one move. Before a fight broke out, Duke intervened. Reacher's mission? Drive to Connecticut. Do not open the cargo. He contacted Susan. They'd check the load at a rest stop. Neagley ran background checks on Duke, Paulie, and Angel. At the stop, drug dogs searched the truck. Nothing but carpets.
No drugs.
Another test. Another Russian roulette. They arranged to meet at the next stop. Susan found Beck's shipments rarely faced customs inspections. At the next stop, Reacher dropped off Susan, took a GPS device from Villy, and moved on. At the destination, a gang member checked the cargo. Just carpets. They handed Reacher a return truck. Back at the warehouse, Angel was waiting. He had been tracking Reacher's GPS movements. He saw the gaps Reacher's stalling, his concern for the cop, the clean getaway car.
But a cop.
What he thinks of what I just want.
Reacher killed him instantly. Shoving the body under a desk, he walked out to Duke.
Angel talks too much.
Richard returns to the mansion as if nothing happened after killing Angel. Duke informed Reacher that Angel had requested a private meeting with Beck. Through the housekeeper, Annette, he learns about a mechanic named Rusty. When Angel doesn't respond, Beck calls for Reacher. But something didn't add up. None of the kidnappers or truck drivers matched Reacher's description. Cornered, Richard uses his wits to escape the situation.
They wanted to send some kind of message.
Reacher claimed they were sending a message about the carpet business using Richard as leverage. Later, he receives intel on Zachary's organization. Meanwhile, Neagley discovers that Quinn is still alive. Reacher immediately seeks Susan's help. Together, they slip past tight security and return to Bizarre Bazaar. Susan digs into Angel's laptop, while Richard investigates the true nature of the business. But no matter how much they search, no suspicious traces can be found. Meanwhile, Angel's body was being disposed of. Just then, Beck's men appeared personally, sending them to join Angel.
Is that blood?
Enemy spotted.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
The next day, the mansion is in chaos over the disappearance of two drivers. Richard heads out with Reacher to buy a birthday gift for Beck. There, he learns that Beck has a superior named McCabe. Seizing the moment, he tries to probe into the rug business.
They just sell rugs.
Reacher discreetly shares information while pretending to use the restroom. To get higher-level intel, he decides to lure Duke out using Angel's email. But then Richard runs into Beck's old classmates, who have a grudge against him. His father is Beck. D. Beck. What the? And at that moment,
It's not.
Reacher arrived and shut it down immediately. Gaining trust, Richard reveals the truth. McCabe manipulated Beck's business and used Reacher to control him. Meanwhile, Susan identifies McCabe at the docks. He was Quinn. Back at the mansion, Reacher received Duke's takedown signal from Angel's email, just as planned. At the trap, but Duke hesitated. Reacher goaded him with a smirk. Tell the boss you were too scared to go if that's what you want. As Duke steps forward, Reacher swiftly takes him down. With a staged act, the plan succeeds. In the end, Reacher pins everything on the dead Angel.
One of them did drop this.
This is Angel's gun.
Reacher was the only man Beck had left.